And so he wanted to get out of that business deal. He owns 24.9% of that business deal, which is he wanted to be in real estate. They're like, what? Hey, how would you like? First night they met him, well, how would you? What are your dreams? And he goes, well, I think I'd like to be in real estate and be in a position to give back. He goes, the way you give back is you make a lot of money first. We got a deal for you. You're 20 fucking years old. You're like, these guys are multi-million. Yeah, and so he researched, found this property in Miami. Who, by the way, Roy Black said it's a good property. Our buddy, my buddy,
That's
and
all we
so
need to know.
I love it. Yeah, he's the best. He has been very helpful to me. Let me tell you something. I don't know.
I told Leah Black that I feel just good in life, that if anything ever happens to me, I'm taken care of. All I got to do is
He
call
is.
Roy.
Yeah, my kids and I's life is much easier because of him. I have to tell you. So,
That's good.
um, so he gets his property, and then the relationship sours, and it's one of those weird relationships where they got this. Hey, Becky misses you. I don't know if you heard the tapes of him, Jerry, talking to Giancarlo. Becky misses you. I'm getting jealous. She thinks you're dating someone. Like, it's so fucking weird. But Giancarlo has, the goods, the receipts, the whatever. But he just wanted to get out of that business deal at 10% on the dollar. He didn't want the full amount that properties were. He wanted to get out. He wanted to join the army or wanted to do something with his life, and they would not let him do it. And it ended up costing Jerry Falwell his job.
Yeah.
The Michael Cohen tape of him talking about fixing that deal, the fact that Giancarlo was brave enough to come out and took all the shit because they're like, what is it? We don't care about people's sex lives. Well, it wasn't about people's sex life, except they're huge hypocrites. And you can't have, if you go to that college, you can't have sex. It's the
Right.
Liberty way. And what it's led to is I'm very proud of Giancarlo. I'm very proud of how he did it, but it led me to the 22 Jane Does at Liberty University who were raped and sexually assaulted and then told by Liberty University, you're in trouble. You just had sex. And when I was
Wow.
gang raped. No, and so I've gotten to know them, and I'm doing a documentary series with them as their trial leads up. But it is such bullshit. It's not about sex. It's about money. It's about power. It's about hating these women, and just the shit they did where they're like, well, you can't go to the police station. You go to the Liberty University police station. One girl was 15 years old. She went to debate a summer camp there at Liberty University. She gets raped. She gets sexually assaulted. They take her down to the police station for 15 hours. They don't let her go to the hospital. They have her debate coach come and take pictures of her injuries, of her sexual assault injuries. 15 years old. And the parent, because they're like, well, they're at Liberty University. It's the safest university in America. It's a Christian. It has to be okay. It's not the safest university. They just don't report this shit. And Jerry Falwell is a big part of that because all he wanted was the money and the power. And I'm so grateful to be a part of taking him down. It all goes back to Trump. It all goes back to his enablers. And I look forward to the January 6th committee taking Trump. I look forward to Trump. People are like, he has to go to prison. I go, I just want the truth out. I would like him to go to jail. I think he is going to. But I look forward to the rest of the truth.
You like couldn't make this stuff up if you tried.
No. Because if you think, what's the worst thing? And I didn't used to be like that. I'd be like, yeah, you get conspiracy on this side, conspiracy is somewhere in the middle. But it's a lot closer to, I mean, you see the people that Trump was involved with, and who would still, I mean, I see a whole party in our country going off a cliff right now with Donald Trump. And they've had many opportunities to get away from him. And it's the worst abusive relationship you could have because he's such a bad guy and he turns on everybody. He's so full of shit and he's a loser. He lost every branch of government when he was, the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And these assholes are still like, that's our guy. He's the most like Jesus. So, unfortunately, got to do things the hard way.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to just ask you about the Connors and Roseanne. When Roseanne came back on air, I live in New York City. I remember when they came to do press, it was like talking about Jesus. It was like the second coming of Jesus. It was
Yeah.
like such a big thing. Were you waiting for your phone to ring, like when Roseanne itself was coming back before the Connors, like initially? Did you think maybe you were going to be involved?
No, no, I didn't think that. I thought, the one thing I'd done that she asked me to do was her roast a few years ago, and it went well. And it was hard to get to that point. This was day one. It was the week of the roast. I get a call. Hey, Roseanne would like you to. She'd like to call you. And I go, well, why don't you tell me what she's going to say? Because then I'll know, because if it's something insulting, it's going to be like, fuck you, no, fuck you, and it'll be over. So the producer of it, well, she wants you to dress up like a waiter and serve her a drink in the middle of it. And I go, yeah. And then, no, that's it. I go, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And people would be so pissed. It's a fucking roast. So then the next day, as we get close to the weekend, okay, here's what she'd like you to call you to ask you if you'll do. If you'll show up and surprise everybody and roast everyone on the dais but her. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not. That's another terrible idea. And I wasn't even sure. And I said, don't it, I said a long time before, because when the roast first got announced, somebody called me and said, would you be willing to do it? I go, don't ask me at the last minute because I need to prepare. It has been 18 years since I need to prepare this shit. So then 2 days before the roast, she's called and left some messages and they were nice, but they're like, you can do on a Thursday, you can do anything you want. Just anything you want, just be part of it. Now, Friday, I said, I have to think about it one day. I talked to my wife at the time, I have to think about it. And, she was like, well, if you want to, do it, you should do it. I think you're thinking about it. And then on Friday, the roast was Saturday, I called my lawyer and he's like, you have so many restraining orders against each other. If she says something about your penis, she owes you 100,000. If you say something about her vagina, you are. So they spent all night Friday night with the lawyers from Viacom and my lawyers, so that Saturday I could go to the thing. And it was so nerve wracking. I had 18 years, 18 jokes came out as though they'd been in the back of my mind. But until I came out on stage, I didn't know for sure I was coming out on stage. And it was a really big surprise. Very few surprises in television. But I could feel people gasp. Even the roastees. It was stunning. And it went well. And I hadn't seen if people hugged her before that because I wasn't watching what happened before. I was kind of hidden in this room. So I don't know. I get done. I kind of look at her like, okay, I'm gonna. Kind of gave her this, and then I went backstage. And then she stopped the show, came backstage. They said, we want to take a picture of you guys. She said, thanks for doing that. That really meant a lot, and that's a good way to bury the hatchet. And then the photographer runs around. Can we take a picture? And she's like, oh, I got to go to the restroom first. And I thought, if she's gonna go to the restroom instead of taking a picture of me, she didn't want to take a picture of me. I'm getting out of here. So I left. And my wife at the time, when I was telling her about it, she's like, well, what do you think? She's not going to take a picture with you until her ex-husband, until she looks in the mirror and sees that she's all together. And I was like, oh, you think that's true? I thought no. So, but that to me was the perfect ending. I did it. I wanted to get out of there before it went sideways. And so I heard that the Connors were coming back.